not all, women men. What she's really saying: I'm uncomfortable with pattern recognition, so I'm going to focus on exceptions to avoid engaging with the actual point you're making. I'd rather shut down the conversation than acknowledge uncomfortable truths. Why this matters. When you're discussing male-female dynamics, you're talking about patterns, not individuals. You're not saying every single woman does X. You're saying women who display behavior X tend to have outcome Y. That's pattern recognition. That's how humans learn. That's how we make decisions. But when a woman responds with "not all women," she's doing one of two things. Intellectually dishonest deflection. She knows you're talking about patterns, but she'd rather derail the conversation than engage with what you're actually saying. Inability to think in patterns. She genuinely doesn't understand that you can observe trends without claiming universality. She thinks in absolutes and can't process probabilistic thinking. Either way, she's telling you she can't have mature, nuanced conversations about real-world dynamics. When you'll hear this, Scenario 1, pattern-based observations uses. Women who have high body counts tend to struggle with pair bonding and long-term commitment. Not all women with high body counts. I know women who... What just happened? You made a pattern-based observation backed by psychology and statistics. She responded with anecdotal exceptions to invalidate the pattern. The conversation is now derailed. Translation: I don't want to engage with this uncomfortable truth, so I'm going to pretend you said all when you didn't. Scenario 2, relationship advice. In my experience, women who say, "I'm a strong, independent woman," tend to resist male leadership in relationships. Not all women who say that. Some women are just confident. Translation: I'm going to focus on exceptions instead of acknowledging the pattern you're describing. Scenario 3, general discussion. Men tend to be more direct in communication, while women tend to be more indirect. Wow, not all men and not all women. That's a huge generalization. Translation: I can't process nuance or probability, so I'm going to shut down this conversation by acting like you claimed universality. What this reveals: when a woman says "not all," she's telling you, 1, she can't think in patterns. Nobody credible ever claims all. When doctors say smoking causes cancer, they don't mean every single smoker gets cancer. When economists say raising minimum wage increases unemployment, they don't mean every single business fires workers. When you say women who dress provocatively attract certain attention, you don't mean literally every woman in every context. You're talking about probabilities, trends, and patterns. Not all is a straw man argument. It attacks a claim you never made. The correct response from an intelligent woman would be, "Okay, I hear what you're saying about the pattern. What's the data behind that? And how do you account for exceptions?" But instead, she shuts it down with "not all." She's defensive and ego-driven. She takes pattern observations as personal attacks. That means any conversation about behavior, dynamics, or problems becomes emotional instead of logical. If she can't separate herself from collective observations, every discussion about women do X will feel like you're attacking her personally. She's incapable of nuance. She thinks in black and white. Either it's all women or no women. She can't process the middle ground where most of reality exists. This means she can't learn from other people's mistakes. She'll have to touch the hot stove herself every time. She'll derail important conversations instead of engaging with your actual point. You can't discuss serious topics, finances, parenting strategies, relationship issues, without her deflecting. The type of woman who says this, chronically defensive, takes general observations personally, can't separate herself from women as a category, likely has insecurities about the very patterns you're discussing, which is why she's defensive. Poor critical thinking skills, gets her worldview from social media echo chambers where "not all" is treated as a valid counterargument. What you do: if you're looking for a wife, pay attention to how she responds when you discuss patterns, not just about women, but about anything: politics, business, human behavior. Test it. Bring up a pattern-based observation about anything. See if she engages thoughtfully, asks clarifying questions, acknowledges the pattern while discussing exceptions, or immediately deflects with "not all." If she deflects, you're dealing with someone who can't think critically or have adult conversations. You can't build with someone who shuts down discussions instead of engaging with them. If you're casually dating, recognize that every substantive conversation will be exhausting. She can't process nuance, can't separate patterns from absolutes, and will take everything personally. You'll spend more time defending what you didn't say than discussing what you did say. The woman who says the opposite. I see what you're saying. That makes sense as a general pattern. Okay, I hear you. What should women do differently then? That's a fair observation. Not everyone, but I get the trend you're pointing to. I think you're right about that pattern. Here's where I've seen it play out. These women can engage intellectually without taking everything personally. They separate themselves from collective observations. They think in probabilities, not absolutes. This is the woman you can have real conversations with. This is the woman who will help you solve problems instead of deflecting from them. The bottom line, not all, is how intellectually lazy or emotionally fragile people avoid uncomfortable truths. You're not claiming all, you're identifying patterns. If she can't tell the difference, she's telling you. I can't handle nuanced conversations, and I'll derail any discussion that makes me uncomfortable. Listen to what she's reporting about herself, and decide if that's someone you want to build with. Interlude 2. Feminist flare-ups. Even good women absorb bad programming. Before you disqualify a woman for saying something feminist, you need to understand the difference between a woman who is a feminist versus a woman who occasionally sounds like one. There's a massive gap between the two, and not knowing the difference will cost you good women or trap you with bad ones. What is a feminist flare-up? A feminist flare-up is when a traditionally feminine woman, one who cooks, submits, creates peace, and respects your leadership, unconsciously repeats feminist programming she's absorbed from culture. It's not who she is. It's what she's heard so many times that it slips out without her even thinking about it. She doesn't live by it. She doesn't build her identity around it. But the indoctrination is so pervasive that even women who reject feminism in their actions can occasionally parrot it in their words. Examples of feminist flare-ups. Scenario 1. The wage gap. You're discussing careers, and she mentions women still only make 77 cents on the dollar compared to men. But in your relationship, she happily lets you lead financially. She defers to your decisions about money. She's never demanded you split bills 50-50. She appreciates your provision and doesn't resent it. That's a flare-up. She heard the talking point somewhere and repeated it, but her actions show she doesn't actually resent male earning power or leadership. Scenario 2. Toxic masculinity. She's scrolling Instagram and casually mentions something about toxic masculinity in response to a post. But in your relationship, she consistently respects and admires your masculine traits. She loves when you lead, protect, and make decisions. She's never tried to feminize you or make you softer. She gravitates toward your strength, not away from it. That's a flare-up. She absorbed the phrase from social media, but she doesn't actually believe masculinity is toxic. Her behavior proves she loves masculine men. Scenario 3. My body, my choice. She mentions abortion rights or bodily autonomy in a political conversation. But in your relationship, she defers to your leadership on major household decisions. She asks for your input before making significant choices. She respects your role as the head of the household. She's never pulled the "you can't tell me what to do" card when it matters. That's a flare-up. She's repeating a political slogan, but her actions show she's not operating in independent woman mode. She understands partnership and submission. Contrast that with an actual feminist. An actual feminist doesn't just say feminist things occasionally. She lives them. Constantly. The actual feminist says, "I'm strong and independent, arrow, and refuses to submit to your leadership." Says body count doesn't matter. Arrow, and has a high body count. She defends aggressively. Says, "I don't need a man." Arrow, and keeps male orbiters for validation and resources. Says, "The patriarchy oppresses women." Arrow, and resents your authority in the relationship. Says, "Toxic masculinity." Arrow, and tries to feminize you or shame your masculine traits. Her words and her actions are aligned. That's not a flare-up. That's her belief system. How to tell the difference. When she says something that raises a red flag, ask yourself 3 questions. Does her behavior match what she just said? If no, then it's probably just a flare-up, absorbed programming, not a core belief. If yes, then it's who she is. Walk away. Does she double down when questioned, or does she reconsider? Example, you mentioned the wage gap earlier. Do you actually believe men are deliberately paying women less for the same work? Flare-up response. I don't know. I just heard that somewhere. Maybe it's more complicated than I thought. Actual feminist response. Yes, it's a proven fact. The patriarchy systematically undervalues women's labor. If she reconsects, then she's teachable. It was just programming. If she doubles down, then it's a core belief. Proceed accordingly. How often does this happen? Rarely, once every few months. She's absorbing culture, but not living by it. Not a deal breaker. Frequently, weekly or more. She's more influenced by feminism than you think. Proceed with caution. Constantly, plus her actions align with her words, implies, that's not a flare-up. That's who she is. Disqualify. A real-world example. I was seeing a traditionally feminine Jamaican woman a few years back. Demure, soft-spoken, excellent cook. She created peace, not conflict. Submitted naturally. Rested comfortably in her femininity. One evening, we're in bed, watching a basketball game. Out of nowhere, she says, "The women's team is way better than the men's team." Now, was that true? No. Did it matter? Also no, because everything else about her told me this was just cultural noise. She'd just cooked for me, without being asked. She told me to rest while she handled things. She was laying on my shoulder, soft and at peace. She wasn't trying to compete with me or prove anything. She never brought it up again. Her actions told the truth. Her words were just a flare-up. I didn't argue. I didn't lecture. I just noted it and moved on. Over the months I knew her, she continued to be soft, feminine, cooperative, and submissive. That one comment? It meant nothing. She wasn't living feminist. She just repeated something she'd heard. The lesson. Social media and modern culture are saturated with feminist messaging. Even women who reject feminism will occasionally repeat it, the same way you might repeat a commercial jingle without meaning to. Your job isn't to police every word. Your job is to observe the pattern. Does she live feminine, or does she just talk feminine while acting masculine? Does she submit in action, or just in theory? Does she create peace, or does she create conflict? Judge her by what she does, not by every passing comment. The difference that matters. A feminist flare-up, manageable, says something feminist occasionally, but her actions contradict it. Lives feminine, submissive, cooperative, absorbed programming, but doesn't operate by it. Teachable and open to correction. An actual feminist, disqualify. Says feminist things regularly, and her actions align with it. Lives masculine, combative, competitive. Built her identity around feminist beliefs, defensive and resistant to correction. The bottom line, don't disqualify a good woman over a feminist flare-up, but do pay attention to whether her actions match her words. If she says something feminist but lives traditional, then flare-up, not a deal-breaker. If she says something feminist and lives feminist, then that's who she is. Keep it moving. She's telling you who she is, but sometimes she's just repeating what she heard. Your job? Know the difference.